one thing I know is if a person is for you, they're for you. I know there are so many times you meet someone and you feel, I messed up. And you know that you messed up. And you beat yourself up about it. But guys, if a person is for you, they are for you, right? And everybody has their person. Please stop, go watch it, and then come back. Yeah. So guys, welcome back again. And for this episode, I want to, like I said, this is all about me being raw, honest about my life, love, and basically healing and growth, right? So I want to share a story that happened a while ago. And this is time, I mean, by now, if you watched the other episode, you know I'm single. Yeah, anyway, on a light note. So there's this nagging question that people like asking me all the time, as if I have a problem. Why am I still single? And I used to take a lot of offense when somebody asks me that question, because some people will be like, oh, you're so beautiful, you're so pretty, you're so intelligent, you're an entrepreneur and all these things. So what's your problem? You know? So I'd like to use this a few minutes of your time to address that question. But I'm going to do this with a story. Now, I'm going to make up the names so that I do not expose anybody. But I think it's important to share, and maybe we can laugh together. So I'm turning a year older. We're all turning a year older next year, and I'm getting closer to 45. Not yet there, but teetering on the edge. And of course, I've also gotten to a space in my life where I know that I do want a life partner. I do want to get married at some point. But yes, there's all that talk of, you're probably too old, or, guys, you probably have to end up dating a younger guy. I don't believe in all that. I honestly think that the right person is there for everybody. And it's not Mr. Right, Mr. Perfect, soulmate, all those things. I just think that when it's time and it's your time, you will meet the right person. So that's my mantra, and that's what I believe. But I'm going to give you a funny story. So a while ago, I meet this guy, and the way it happened was that I actually went online and I saw someone posting something on Facebook. Some gentleman, one of those people who just like to hate on women and, and things like that, and women in our age group who are single. And for whatever reason, on that day, it was a trigger. This guy said something about women in my age group who are single have an issue, we have a problem, and that nobody should consider us for, dating and things like that. We are finished, we are washed up and all those things. I'm usually not very bothered by such people who comment about such things. But for some reason, on that day, I was like, oh my God, I've been single quite a while. It's been a couple of years. And as I grow older, I'm like, yeah, I want my person. I also want my person and things like that. So for some reason, on that day, I felt something. So I was like, okay, breathe in, breathe out. Didn't comment. So the post, moved on. And then I decided, I hear there's a dating site called ABCD, XXS. I'm not going to talk about the dating site. So I said, okay, let me try this online dating thing. So I go on this dating site. I put up my profile, put up one of my snazzy photos and my nice smile. And I'm like, okay, let me see if I can swipe left and swipe right? So I swiped right. And I think the first, maybe it was the second or third person I swiped right was a match. And immediately, on the other end, so almost like this guy was just waiting for me as well. They also matched and they inboxed me. And guys, let me just say, that was an amazing conversation that began. And we started chatting and we exchanged numbers quite fast. and literally, decided, I think we're getting along really well. And I was really excited. Like, this person was ticking all the boxes that I have, just sounded like really good person. So we decided, we're gonna meet up and everything and stuff, and we did. Now, please note that by the time I'm going on this dating site, in my mind, I'm like, I'm ready to date. I have taken my time from dating people and just being in that life, and I've worked on myself, all my insecurities, and my, I've dealt with my baggage, and I'm thinking, okay, Lillian, you're now ready. So I'm like, okay. So we meet up with this guy and we hit it off completely. And what ensues is a series of multiple other conversations later on after that. And we've been talking for a while. And then I think in that initial meetup that we had, he asked me a couple of questions. And there were questions that I was not ready for. Like someone asks you a very, in fact, when I think about it in hindsight, I almost feel like he had a list of questions that he was coming to ask me, because he kept on just firing questions. And I guess that's what people do nowadays. I have not dated in a long time, so I was just like, okay, I thought we were just coming here to have fun, right? So he was firing all these questions, and he asked me specific questions, and I was like, oh my God, I don't want to start talking about my past right now. I'm not ready. I mean, I've just met you online. I'm not going to tell you all my deep, dark secrets, right? So I remember not answering the question and being very sly. And I ended up just answering another question he had asked. And that story died, right? I was like, I'll deal with you later. Then like a week or so later, I was like, okay, I need to have this conversation with this person. He asked this question, let me just answer. So I then answered. And I think the guy was like, wow, I wish you had told me this in the beginning, because if you had, we would not be a thing, And I realized, guys, when you're dating people, we all have our preferences. And some people will be like, I liked like light-skinned chicks. I like tall, dark, handsome. I like this. So one of the things I shared with him was something that he was just like, it's a deal breaker for him. And I was like, wow. But please note, we had really, like, in my mind, I knew that this is it. Like the initial conversations that we had, I was like, I have met the one. So I'm just going to ask you guys, how many times have you met the one? And the one did not end up being the one. Yeah, so it happens, right? And I remember thinking, wow, like in hindsight, I realized that he had a point, in the sense that for you, if you're to meet somebody, and you want to get to know somebody, and you want to get into a serious kind of thing, you have to be very willing to be vulnerable. And sometimes you don't think about what vulnerability means. And sometimes people think vulnerability is intimacy, and it's intimacy in terms of a physical connection or a physical relationship. But I think intimacy is not about being physical. It's about being able to be brave and courageous enough to have courageous conversations about yourself with a potential partner. And sometimes it might not be the right time to have that conversation. Because for me, to date, I still feel it was not ready for me to have this conversation with this person who I didn't know, right? That well. But I should also get to a point whereby I should know that if I'm going to get into something with somebody, there will be things that we will have to discuss, or I'll ask him, and that he may not tell me initially. And if he's not intimate or vulnerable with me, vulnerability has to do with intimacy. And sometimes you don't think about it like that, Yeah. So that is how I am still single, but not because of that, but because I realized that I still have a lot of work to do in terms of becoming more vulnerable about me. And it's okay, and I don't know if anyone out there who's listening to this has ever been through such a situation whereby you meet the perfect partner potential, but it gets to a point whereby you have things you've gone through. You have had, I keep on saying the last 10 years for me has been a marathon journey of motherhood. I'm an entrepreneur, so it has been another marathon, chaotic experience just being in business and trying to raise my daughter. So, and I've gone through a lot of, what can I say, very intense experiences. Some of them literally have almost made me want to just give up on life, right? And sometimes I'm not ready to talk about that area of my life, right? But that being said, I also want to finish by saying this, that in as much as I was extremely disappointed that this particular relationship did not work, actually it wasn't a relationship, was an almost relationship, didn't work. One thing I know is, if a person is for you, they're for you. I know there are so many times you meet someone and you feel, I messed up, and you know that you messed up, and you beat yourself up about it. But guys, if a person is for you, they are for you, right? And everybody has their person, right? So for me, that's how I was able to get over that hump in that relationship, because I felt, this is something I've shared with you. This is something personal I've shared with you. If it's such a big deal, then you're not my person, in as much as you tick all the other boxes, right? So that's what I want to leave you with today. And I wanted to read something to the same effect about intimacy. And I'm going to repeat. Lesson takeaway. People that think, and why I'm reading it is because I had it somewhere and I thought it was beautiful. And it says, people that think that intimacy is about sleeping together. It is not. True intimacy goes far beyond the physical. It's about sharing your deepest fears, insecurities, and vulnerabilities with someone who embraces you without judgment. Without judgment. Someone who holds your heart gently in their hands. And real intimacy is when you can open up your innermost thoughts, your pain, your past, and your trauma to another person, knowing they will listen with empathy and understanding. I hope someone is listening to me. It's when you can reveal broken pieces of your soul and they respond with kindness and love. Intimacy is when you find a safe haven, right? In someone's presence, a place where you can be your authentic self without fear of rejection. It's when you can stand in front of them, stripped of pretenses, and they reassure you with those magical words, you are safe with me. In a world of masks, true intimacy is a rare gem, and it's a connection that transcends physical attraction and delves deeper into the essence of humanity. It's the bond that says, I see you for who you are, and I love you unconditionally. Yeah, guys, click on that like button, comment, and go and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And thank you for being here with me on the Unafraid podcast. Honest conversations about life, love, healing, and growth. Bye.